Howdy, 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 my name's Anashi Sasuke. Welcome back to Let's Read the SCP Foundation Wiki. In the last episode, we started at the soporific bedbugs, which were freaky, and ended with the Seance Storm, which was interesting, but still also freaky. This one we're going to be starting with Ziku Zaiku Ziku TV, and we're going to stop after Party in a Box. So let's check that out. Well, it's safe. Whatever it is. SCP-461 is to be kept in a locked room without windows, and its display faced away from the door. The door must be guarded by one Level 3 security personnel whose presence is monitored by security cameras. A Level 2 security rating is required to enter the room. No one is allowed entry from 3 AM to 3:05 AM GMT until further notice. So then what is it? It is a 25-inch cathode ray tube. So that's what CRT TV means, of unknown origin. Although it outwardly resembles a Zenith unit manufactured in the early 1980s. The model number is ZT3, sorry, yawning. Is ZT35, but this does not correspond to any known Zenith television. Once a day at exactly 3 AM Greenwich Mean Time, 461 self-activates and displays video footage lasting precisely 5 minutes. The nature of the footage varies widely, but it is never a conventional broadcast. Instead of standard television programming, 461 displays what appears to be video feeds of closed-circuit security cameras in both commercial and residential settings. All footage appears contemporary and transmitted live. SCP-461 does not require an external energy source to operate. It has no power cable. It also has no antenna. When it is active, changing the channel has no effect, and its unadjustable audio produces only low static. Its knobs to adjust color, sharpness, tint, and other visual settings have no effect and may not be connected. All attempts to physically access the internal components have proved fruitless. The device has no seams, screws, bolts, or other entry point or fastener. X-ray scanning does not reveal the interior of 461, and sonographic inspection is similarly inconclusive. The unit is also unusually heavy for CRT television, approximately 50 kilograms above normal weight for a device of this type. Addendum A, Incident Log of March 8th, 2000-something. We put the device inside a Faraday cage today to filter out all incoming signals. Nevertheless, its behavior proceeded as normal at 3 AM. Perhaps it's transmitting from an internal data storage component? Incident Log September the 4th. Maybe. Today, the device displayed footage of the interior of the room it's contained in, from the perspective of the corner just above the door. However, there are no security cameras or other video recording devices in the room. Advise that no fewer than 2 individuals occupy the room at one time. Also advise closed-circuit cameras to be installed in the room to monitor for unusual phenomena. Said footage is designated SCP-461-1. Addendum C, Internal SCP Correspondence. I did some analysis on 461-1 as you asked. Nothing really jumped out at me at first, but I punched up the gamma and brightness, contrast, and a few other doodads, and it looked like there's someone standing in the far corner. I checked the entry log for that day, and no one is recorded going in or out. The hallway camera's tapes don't show anyone going in and out either. Are you guys running an experiment on long-term exposure to this thing? That's spoopy. Now it's the getaway car, which is Euclid. Some of these feel like they're just like that TV feels like a repeat of something that already happened. I don't remember which SCP it was, but I remember reading about a TV that just turned on, did things, and then turned back off. SCP-462 was stored in a temperature and humidity-controlled vault at site someplace. Under no circumstances are disposable dudes allowed near the object. Despite its state of disrepair, 462 does not show any signs of further deterioration due to rust. It is a 1968 Chevy El Camino in a state of serious disrepair, with several broken windows and severe rust damage. A single key is inserted into the ignition. To date, all attempts at removing the key have failed. If a human sits in the driver's seat and turns the key as if to start the vehicle, they will instantaneously disappear. Around 42% of 462's drivers have been known to suddenly reappear without the vehicle at a distant location after a random period of time, ranging from 43 seconds to 7 months, near the site that they have been confirmed as being their chosen destination. These drivers rarely arrive at their destinations safely. Many have been observed falling from a considerable height after reappearing, while others have arrived while flying in the direction of their destination at various speeds, resulting in injuries that are sometimes fatal. Occasionally, test subjects will arrive in various states of dismemberment. In 35% of these cases, the test subject never reappears and cannot be located even when fitted with a GPS transmitter. The remaining 23% of test subjects' data expunged. The subjects who survive 462's traveling process report that they are driving during the time they are gone, and express confusion regarding the experience and their abrupt reappearance. These reports are typically contradict the time between vanishing and reappearing, with most drivers insistent that they were gone for a few minutes as opposed to the actual period of time their disappearance was observed. The object first came to the Foundation's attention on October the 5th, 2000-something when Blank Marshall inadvertently used it to find his father, who was serving a life sentence at blank blank penitentiary, blank kilometers away from the object's original location. The person's security staff detained Mr. Marshall soon afterwards. Questioning was carried out by Agent Blank, who was working undercover as one of the facility's guards. 462 was immediately located and moved to Site Blank without incident. Well, that wasn't so bad. I guess I could get why it would be called the getaway car, and why their disposable dudes aren't allowed near it. A spoon that bends people. But it's safe though, because it's just a spoon. SCP-463 is to be maintained in the small glass display case within its containment cell at Site Blank. If it must be transferred from its current location, it should be transported in its display case or some other container. At no time should any Foundation researchers come into direct physical contact with it. Following the incident of blankety blank blank, personnel are strongly discouraged from bringing food of any sort into its cell. It is a small silver spoon, approximately 17.5 centimeters in length with a mass of approximately 153 grams. Unless handled by a human, it displays no abnormal behavior. Neutron imaging, MRI, and the redacted imaging system have revealed no detail to its inner structure. All analysis of 463 is consequently limited to its directly observable effects. Any individuals who pick up 463 have their spines bent backwards at a 90-degree angle just below the T6 thoracic vertebrae. This bending typically proves fatal, although some test subjects have survived with full lower body paralysis. Its effect on humans is displayed regardless of whether or not the subject is wearing gloves, oven or any other such barrier. The only apparent requirement for 463 to be able to bend its holder is that the subject have a firm grip. Subjects who have held 463 very weakly, i.e. with just the tips of their fingers, have been unaffected. Testing has demonstrated that 463 displays no unusual effects when it is in contact with autonomous machines, remotely controlled machines, or animals or corpses. It is the opinion of Dr. Blank that 463 does not actually physically bend the user, but has somehow been embedded with a psychic trigger which causes the user's back muscles to violently contract. This would explain the absence of 463's effect when handled by non-humans. Memo: see testing logs 463 blank blank and blank. Doctor. So here's the testing logs, I guess. Disposable 4221 is placed in proximity to its unlocked container. Their back muscles were surgically removed from the body during surgery for spinal stenosis. Instructed to pick up the spoon, experiences bending of the upper spine, goes into neurogenic shock, subject declared clinically dead. Body removed from testing site. Okay, 4279's wheelchair is placed in proximity of 463's unlocked container. Has already had a complete fracture of the C5 vertebrae and no neuromuscular connection to any muscles below the neck. Researcher using tongs places the spoon in their hand. Experiences non-fatal bending of the upper spine. Minor injuries are sustained as a result of falling from wheelchair. Removed from testing site. Test 3. Placed in proximity of the unlocked container, they have been paralyzed below the waist prior to their interaction with the 463. They become highly agitated and she attempts to remove herself from the testing chamber. An armed guard is called into the testing chamber to ensure compliance of 5119. Instructed to pick up. Nope. Instructed to pick up. Nope. Instructed by armed guard to pick up the spoon. Experiences non-fatal bending of the spine about the T6 thoracic vertebrae. No further injuries sustained. Removed from the site. Memo: it would seem that 463 does indeed exert a force on the user's spine. Sadly, we have absolutely no clues as to the nature of the force. We don't even know what the net torque is. I think the next course of action should be to test 463 on personnel from whom the spinal column itself has been removed. Further testing is clearly in order. And how exactly would you go about that? I'm pretty sure there are multiple things in the spinal column that need to be there to be alive. Now it's time for the foundry. It's Euclid. Site-53 consists of a warehouse that has been built around 464. The intervening space between the walls of the warehouse and 464 is equipped with motion sensors and stationary cameras. Site-53 is staffed by a rotating complement of 7 guards. Unclothed beings sighted inside the warehouse are to be shot on sight, or is it unclothed? And unauthorized clothed people are to be detained for questioning and physical examination. Discovered in 19-something, SCP-464 is a large building located in the middle of a farm near blankety-blank. The building consists of 10 rooms, one of which takes up 70% of the building. The remaining 9 rooms vary in size and function and take up 2 stories at the rear of the building. The largest room, designated the floor, contains 14 identical large machines, all of which are connected to a 15th machine as well as the control room. Several of the machines are damaged by neglect and abuse. The full listing of functionality follows. Nope, nope, undetermined, broke, nope, functioning, nope, functioning, broke, nope, functioning, broke, functioning. All products are mindlessly homicidal, for the first malfunctioning. Will produce only a biological soup containing several complete organs. All products are comatose and non-responsive. Data expunged. Machine number 15 seems to be a raw material converter and a fuel dispenser. It can accept and convert any animal or human bodies or body parts, living or dead. It must be at least 15% full for any of the other machines to function. All products of 464 are to be recycled. This reminds me of the machine that dices people up and sections them off, and then you can put them back together with like better organs or whatever. Sounds like that. Except worse, probably. The next largest room is on the ground floor and was labeled refining. When found, it was locked and barred from the outside. Upon exploration, it was discovered to have a very large pile of dismantled and destroyed parts of machinery, various broken surgical equipment, as well as the remains of various decapitated animal and human bodies. The animals were not identifiable as belonging to any known species. On top of the pile was sitting data expunged. This has since been classified as SCP-464-1. 1 was deemed unsafe to keep and thus was destroyed, resulting in an acceptable level of casualties. The animal parts, 464-1, as well as the destroyed machinery, are currently under study. The other room on the ground floor contained a standardized military uniform for adult men, as well as various civilian outfits for men, women, and children. These notably included identification for the local data expunged, as well as stocks of blank, rifles, and blank. The second floor contains a closet, a small room containing 2 small cots, a latrine, a large gasoline power generator, and the observation room. The observation room overlooks the floor and has a wide variety of control panels. 14 panels each control the machines on the floor. They were discovered labeled in French as follows: a label indicating panel number 1 to 15, 1 switch labeled on-off, 1 dial labeled male-female, 1 dial sign is Caucasian, Asian, Indian, and African, 1 dial starting at 0 and ending at 75, and 1 dial starting at 50 and ending at 125. Panels 3 and 4 do not power up. The dials on panel 5 and 8 are missing, and it has been discovered that they are set at female, Asian 10, and male Caucasian 25 respectively. Experimentation with the panels and the machines has led to the discovery that the machines will create human beings as per the settings. The settings male Asian 076 resulted in newborn Asian males, normal except for a tattoo near the base of the spine showing data expunged. The significance of the last dial, 50 to 125, was not initially known. Later tests on settings male Caucasian 50-50 and 50-51 seem to show that the date signifies the age at which the produced human will die of organ failure. Autopsy has shown that the beings resemble typical humans in all aspects except in the presence of probably a soul or brain, suspected due to the unique section of the memory section of the brain and the frontal lobes. Also noted in the autopsies that each combination of the sex and race styles only has 1 DNA sequence, with only the age varying between like outputs. Production takes 20 minutes, and once the being is created, it lies in a coma or trance-like state for another 15 minutes. If this period lapses without interference, the being shall awaken, and obey the orders given to it by the first human it encounters. During the trance period, the being may be told any factual information, including name or personal history, and afterwards the being shall act as if though the information pertains to itself. All beings seem to be created knowing French, Spanish, and Chinese, as well as knowledge pertaining to combat weaponry and vehicle operation. Dissection of the machines indicates that manufactured humans are not created in a manner similar to cloning or, for that matter, birth. Rather, the machines seem to create each body part individually in an inactive state. They are then assembled and activated through unknown means. Though these machines may be repaired with standardized parts, total replication of a functioning machine has as of yet failed. It has been theorized that at full production, 464 could produce up to 700 adult individuals a day, assuming blank blank of organic material was available. Document 1. War simulations that include 3 instances of 464 all resulted in data expunged. This of course assumes an adequate supply of raw material, which could be acquired from the deceased, livestock, and civilian populations. Addendum, Agents blank and blank have been put on assignment to search for more instances of 464. The danger of a fully functioning instance falling into the hands of some other agency or country is too great to ignore. And that brings us to Party in a Box. And the Foundry sounds about as horrifying as I expected. Let's see if Party in the Box lives up to what it might be. SCP-465 is secured in a containment locker at containment locker 8423 at Site 19. And if it's at Site 19, you know something crazy must be going on. Under no circumstances is 465 to be opened by any personnel ranking above disposable dudes, and then only in a space at least 15 square meters in area. No other special attention or care is required. 465-1 is a large 2-piece cardboard box decorated with a faded confetti pattern popular in the 1970s. Other than a large printed label on top of the lid marked "Party in a Box," no indication of contents or manufacturer are found on any portion of the object. When any human subject completely removes the lid of one, an array of decorations, furniture, and a group of at least 20 people, collectively 2, appear spontaneously in the room or immediate vicinity in which the box was opened. These individuals proceed to celebrate raucously and actively attempt to include the subject in their festivities, primarily dancing and consumption of alcohol. Though most members of 2 are persistent in these attempts, and several of them extremely persuasive, the subject does not appear to be compelled to participate. Should the subject attempt to leave the party, additional members of 2 will manifest at any location that the subject visits for the duration of the party. Approximately 5 hours following the appearance of 2, all instances of 2 will simultaneously vanish, accompanied by the subject if he or she has consumed any amount of alcohol in the course of the party. At the same time, the lid of 1 will reappear atop the box in the closed position, and any damage sustained by 1 in the course of the party is reversed. Attempts to close or damage the box prior to the end of the time limit have had no effects on this phenomenon, nor have attempts to distance the subject from 1 prior to the conclusion of the party. Subjects that have vanished as a result of interaction with the box may appear among the members of 2 during subsequent activations of 1, expressing little or no association with their original identities. Of the individuals comprising 2, only 2 have appeared on every occasion that the box has been opened. The first, designated 2A1, is a male disc jockey and appears with a table covered in sound equipment and other tools, which he uses to play a wide variety of music audible wherever instances of 2 are present. The second, designated 2A2, is a male bartender and appears with a small, well-stocked bar from which he distributes a variety of alcoholic beverages. An additional 185 unique members of 2 have been identified, many of which appeared on 2 or more separate occasions, most notably 2A48 and 2A162. If a party guest appearing as a part of 2 is touched by any individual other than the subject who opened 1, that guest will immediately become hysterical and incoherent, pleading in slurred speech with the individual who made contact. The majority of these guests will attempt to flee from the vicinity and will vanish upon entering an area where no other elements of 2 are present. The remainder of guests affected in this way will fall dead within several minutes of contact. The corpses of these individuals do not vanish with the rest of 2, nor do such individuals appear in future manifestations of 2. Autopsies reveal cause of death to be a combination of exhaustion and blood alcohol levels in excess of 1.8. Wait, so if a party guest appearing is touched by an individual other than the subject who opened it. Okay, so if somebody besides the person who opened the party box touches one of the guests, they'll snap out of being trapped in the party and then die from alcohol overdose. Okay. By contrast, 2A1 and 2A2 consistently ignore all individuals save for the activating subject and other members of 2. Attempts at physical contact with either entity have resulted in premature termination of the party. So the significance of A1 and A2 remains unknown. So, that was interesting. It was not made by the factory, but it sounds like it easily could have been made by the factory. And I'm sure there's plenty of other things in here that have been made by the factory. Possibly the spoon that bends people. In any case, this has been Anashi Sasuke. This is episode 103 of Let's Read the SP Foundation Wiki. In the next episode, we're going to start with mobile veins and go up through the nexus of abandoned places. If you liked it, a like and a subscribe will be groovy. If you didn't, you need to do either one of those things, and I will see y'all in the next one. Later.